Low ball is there for Altidore. Massive save from Callender.
Durkin for some cross. Benteke brings it down. Benteke! Oh, what a save! The rebound over! Oh, tremendous from Drake Callender.
What a save from Drake Callender, who, quite rightly so, will claim the headlines.
Well, Drake, big saves there. We're going to welcome in Inter Miami goalkeeper Drake Callender. Thanks so much for joining us today, Drake.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Excited to be here.
You may not remember this, I'm hoping you do, but in the media game, Inter Miami media game, you took us through a meditation with DeAndre Yedlin, and then we ended up winning that game. I ended up scoring a ton of goals, so I was hoping that you could give us a meditation, like real quick, like a 2-second meditation here.
A 2-second meditation, all right. Yeah, let's just do one of my favorite go-to meditations, just like a small breath work, just kind of 5 breaths, counting down from 5. So I like just doing five deep breaths, and then in your head you just count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So let's start with 1 breath, just in through the nose, out through the mouth, and you count 5, and then in through the nose, out through the mouth.
Drake, I got way too much energy for this. There's no way I'm getting 5 seconds out of here. You gotta be kidding me, Jenny. I mean, you've got way too much energy for this.
You know what? I love it though, because you're bringing meditation into the game and making it, so much of a bigger thing in football, which I definitely needed during my career. Some help there. So we'll get into the interview, but I will take your advice on this 5 breaths for a little bit later. Drake, you guys, Inter Miami, are into the quarterfinals of the U.S. Open Cup, and you're going to face USL side Birmingham Legion on Wednesday. How much of the team's struggle in the league play make this Open Cup run even more important?
I think any game we play, whether it's league or Open Cup, is important for us. Of course, they're different, but I think in terms of building momentum, you can win a game in Open Cup, and that might help you out in the league, and vice versa. If you're winning in the league, that may help you out with more momentum going into the Open Cup. So again, we're just going to take the same approach of having the mentality to win that game, and I think it's important for us right now to kind of get something out of these games. And I think with where we're at, this is a quarterfinal. This is, I think, the furthest we've been in a Open Cup tournament, that we can really use this as something to help us just with our season overall.
How tough has it been for you? Because I know as a goalkeeper, I was a defender myself, and I took a lot of pride in keeping clean sheets, and the unity certainly grew from defence, and that's how you basically build a championship-winning team. So how difficult has it been for you personally as a goalkeeper, not being able to keep as many clean sheets? Obviously, there has been a lot of change right in front of you with your defenders and in midfield, suspension, international call-ups. How difficult is that for you, not only personally, but mentally?
Yeah, I mean, again, like, I look at the language difficulty. I think I always have the approach of, whatever happens on the field, whether it happens in life, you have to take it head on. No excuses. I always try and give my best every single game. And clean sheets are some of the hardest things to come by. And so every game I do my best to keep a clean sheet, but, that's not always the case. So as long as I know I leave everything out on the field, whether there's a goal, whether there's a clean sheet, I always try and just give it my best. So, and you're right. I think championship teams are driven by a really strong defense, and I think a lot of our games have been decided by 1 goal or so. So I think there's a couple of things we can clean up to kind of get us on the right path.
Yeah, not getting red cards and certainly discipline would absolutely help you on that path. Now, your career's an interesting one, and I can relate to it in many ways. I played my final year in the USL, and I thought it to be a very competitive league, and I couldn't believe how competitive it was. There wasn't much of a gap, as far as I was concerned, and this is 10 years ago, between USL and Major League Soccer. You've also had that experience at the beginning of your career, now jumping into Major League Soccer and putting out some outstanding performances. Now you're competing against the USL side in the Cup. Is there a big gap between USL and Major League Soccer for you personally?
Personally, I think whether you're playing in the USL or in the MLS, you have to have the same approach to compete as hard as you can. I think again, I played in USL League One. Those games were difficult. I played in these MLS first team games are also very difficult. So regardless of who your opponent is, you have to approach it with that winning mentality. And of course, it's an away game. It's an Open Cup game. There's elimination, so I think it's going to be very, very competitive.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think the winning mentality is now changed over to a new man in charge who has had success in Major League Soccer, and Javier Morales. He's a former teammate of mine. You probably don't know that. I used to call him the genius, and I can only imagine that his footballing brain and his mentality, the way he deals with human beings, might make him a very successful coach. So how's the opening weeks with Javier Morales as the main man been for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's only been a couple of days, but in the short time that he's been at the head for us, I think he's started to get us all on the same page, kind of, starting to implement his philosophy. And it's tough, when we have weekend games, midweek games, to kind of get the team to a place where he feels that we need to compete and how we need to play. So we're all doing our best as a group, as a staff, to get prepared for these next games. But in this short time, I felt that he's done a good job to kind of get everyone to commit to what we're trying to do, and that's take it one game at a time and win each game.
Drake, you had a breakout season last year, leading to you being named MLS Goalkeeper of the Year finalist, which then led to you getting called into your first U.S. men's national team camp. How was that first camp?
I mean, it was great. It was a short camp, but I think it was something that I really enjoyed, being in with a group of guys that commit to the game like this, who are in great form, who, being able to represent this nation is something I've always dreamed of as a kid. So I'm really looking forward to this next camp, and just it's another opportunity to grow, to challenge myself, to demand more of myself, and also just be a part of something bigger. So I'm really excited, and it's something that I'm really looking forward to.
Drake, I saw that footage of the Inter Miami kids telling you that you were called in to the national team and how emotional that moment was for you. How cool was it to have those kids that are looking up to you deliver that news for you?
It was awesome. I knew I was finding out that day. I just didn't know how or when I would find out. So it was great to have the academy goalkeepers in there, as well as kind of the entire goalkeeping unit between the first team, second team, and also the academy goalkeeper coaches. So it was great to kind of have that news be given to me by the academy goalkeepers, because I see them train, they see me train. I always try and take time to talk to them, give advice. So that day I was actually supposed to give them a little presentation on just what it's like being a pro. And so
but they faked you out, huh? They faked you out. They didn't want to hear it.
The kid already has a question for me. I haven't even started. So it was really cool of the club to do that, and it's something I'll always be grateful for.
Yeah, it's something you work incredibly hard for. And of course, goalkeepers, they're different. I'm just going to put it out there, Drake. I know I'm talking to you, you're a goalkeeper. They're just different. And I know there's a great goalkeeping group that they have right now within US Soccer. But what's the community like? Do you all kind of communicate with one another? Do you have a little goalkeeper WhatsApp chat group where maybe you're getting messages from previous goalkeepers and current goalkeepers just to try and inspire one another along?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not involved in any, I guess, extensive nationwide goalkeeping unit, but every time I compete against another team, I always take time to talk to the other goalkeeper, show some respect, just kind of being respectful to your competitors. But even thinking back to my rookie year, having Luis Robles here, having John McCarthy here, those guys are great mentors. And just whenever I think just like the goalkeeper in general, it's like you need those guys around you to even have, the training work properly, whether you're serving shots, whether you're supporting each other. I think, yeah, goalkeepers are different in a lot of aspects, but I think it's our differences what kind of make us unique and what makes us get along. So whenever the opportunity to connect with another goalkeeper, whether that's an academy goalkeeper or a more experienced goalkeeper, I always take the time to do that.
When I was younger, I was 18, I went to a US under-18 camp in Slovakia, and I got to train with the first team back in the day. And then they had Brad Friedel competing with Keller, competing with every other goalkeeper. And that generation of goalkeepers were incredible. I mean, it was just such a battle to get the #1 spot. Is there a goalkeeper throughout US soccer history that you looked up to, that you tried to maybe model your game around, or someone that just inspired you to be a goalkeeper?
I wouldn't say I had any like direct inspiration from somebody to be a goalkeeper. It was always something that I wanted to do and that I wanted to create myself. But I would say if there's one person as I got more into the position that I looked up to was probably Tim Howard, U.S. men's national team legend. I remember reading his book when I was in high school, and I was super inspirational just hearing about his story and his journey, and just like how he played the position, very commanding leadership, very athletic, is something that I think has helped me kind of shape my game around. So as I've gotten older, of course, you pull bits and pieces from pros that you see as you grow up. But I think if there's one person that I looked up to the most, probably Tim Howard.
Drake, I can never wrap my head around goalkeepers like kind of volunteering to be in front of goal and take shots to their face. So you must be a bit of an oddball. I'm going to admit that right now.
Goalkeeper union.
You're in that Nations League roster in Vegas, so we will see you then, and I'll get to see whether or not you're one of these weird goalkeepers or, just totally normal. We'll see.
Keep up the great work, Drake, and all the best.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much for joining us, Drake. The U.S. Open Cup is down to the quarterfinals. 2 USL teams remaining, including the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, who will take on FC Cincinnati Tuesday on the Golazo Network. The Chicago Fire host the Houston Dynamo at 8:30. And on Wednesday on the Golazo Network, it's the Birmingham Legion hosting Drake Callender and Inter Miami starting at 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have more Box to Box after the break. Don't go anywhere.